Hey everybody, and welcome back. Right, well, so what's going on? Nothing much. It's quite mild. Last few days actually, over the weekend, I was out tramping around. I went right round all the sections and gathered up all the tape. So for those of you who either worry or just want to know about my health, this is a pretty steep hillside here where I have all the sections. So like when I go out to the workshop, it's up like that. So I've been walking that. It's not like when I go out for my exercise, I just, walk around a running track or something. I'm up and down and all over in the woods. So now I'm out, I've just taken the car down to get the exhaust looked at, and that's sort of, I don't know, well over a quarter of a mile down the bottom of the hill, and it's like that all the way. So I just dropped it off, walked up, no problem. So I'm feeling good, all right? Okay, we're going to press on with this. The parts arrived, so I put the little pin thing in there, put the spring on, put the oil seal in here. I've had to order some more of these Allen bolts, because as I said, the BSF, I've got masses of all different sizes of UNC for the later models. Well, I say later, we're only talking about what, 1968, so we're still talking about 50 odd years ago. But because these are so expensive, I didn't want to start cutting and rethreading them, so I've just ordered some 1 inch and 3/4 inch ones. They were like $3 each because of the BSF thread. Alright, so there's that done. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do the clutch. Well, in fact, my plan for the day is to get the engine done. So that's clutch, electronic ignition and everything on that side. Check the clutch play here, the amount of setup for waffling for the clutch actuating arm, stuff like that. Because I still get queries about that, or comments. So that's our plan for the day. I don't think it'll take all day. It shouldn't. I've done enough of these clutches. But that's that. I did come out for an hour yesterday, and suddenly struck me I had to do the point where the points would normally be. So I could have played, I think it was 90,000 stuff, welded it, blended it in. So that's sealed that off. Just thought of something else I was going to tell you, and immediately it's gone out of my brain. What was it? Today's Monday. Wednesday I'm going to take the saddle thing down to get a pull. I don't think I'm going to mess around trying to put a little piece in here. I think I'm just going to match these two up. It's the tiniest little, you can see it's the tiniest little piece missing. What else? Alright, the only other thing is, I want you all to concentrate. I want you to send as much positive mental energy towards Richmond, New York as you possibly can. Because I do not want to have another week like the last couple of forgetting to order things, losing things, getting completely out of shape and annoyed over the tank and everything. We're just going to take it, this is easy, done this enough times, we're just going to take it steady with the tank, get it finished. This I want done over the next couple of weeks, so that come the new year we can look for a new project. Alright, so let's get over the other side and put a clutch and stuff on. Alright then, here we go. I put the footrests on, and I put the brake lever on as well. I still need to do that pin. I shortened it, this clevis pin, because they're really long, but I still have to drill a hole in the other side to put the split pin in. Alright, don't normally put this on, but while I was looking for stuff I came across a bag with a couple. So there's that felt thing that goes on there. Alright, new gaskets. I bought 4 just to be on the safe side, and I bought 2 sets of screws. I bought a dozen screws, so we have extra ones for if we do another engine. I mentioned new project earlier. I've got, might be a, I've got grease on me now. I've got plans for, well actually I was making plans for a project, and I can tell you what that one is. I was thinking that I have one more round barrel B44. Now the thing about the round barrel is, if my information is correct from over the years, the cylinder head is basically the same as the B40. For the square barrel B44 they also, I think, put bigger valves in, redesigned the sort of head a little bit. So what I'm half hoping is that with this really low compression and the holes down so the line up. Come on. There we go. And what was I said? And this CV carbon, rather hoping that this is going to be a nice engine now, because it's a 90mm stroke, which is the same as the Enfield. So it's a long stroke engine, and I'm hoping if I've softened it up enough that it'll be nice and placid and it'll run like the Enfield. And if that's the case, it's a lot lighter than the Enfield engine. And put some oil, I put an oil seal in there, and I'm thinking that if we build a frame for it, nice light frame, we're going to have a 210-pound bike. The little nub in the right place. Yes, oil seal hardly has anything to fix onto. And might ride that. It's only going to be a few pounds more than 250, but if it performs in that nice lazy way that the Enfield does, which is what I really like, then I would quite like to ride that. We shall see. Oh, we've got walls lined up. Hey! There's one. There's two. Right, now let me screw these in, because say there's two. Come on now, be a good boy. Because as you can see, I've got to line these up and get it done. So let me wipe my fingers first before I touch the camera. Let me switch you off and bring you back in a moment. Right, next thing is to put the clutch centre. Well, I suppose that altogether that's the clutch centre. Put the clutch drive, if you like, into the cage. Now this doesn't have a bearing in it. Remember the Enfield's got a ball bearing in here that's in a sort of slightly crimped race. Other ones have a proper bearing in, but the BSAs and the Triumphs have, as you can see here, lots of little loose rollers. So they don't wear much, but they're not expensive. So I bought, there's 25 in here, there's 20 in a Triumph, I think it is. So lots of grease on. And then, just like with the steering head bearings, we've got to start putting those in there. I think I'll get a pair of tweezers to do this, and I'll bring you back when I put them on. Right, so that's them all on there. Now we're going to, of course this is a very close fit, and it's so easy to make them tip over. Like that. See that one there, look, just caught the edge of it. Stupid bloody way of doing it, this. You gotta make sure they're all in tight up to the centre. As I say, there's only just enough space to get them on, or to get them into this. Come on now. There we go. Alright. So we've done that. Now the next thing to put on is this here doodad. Hang on. Now this of course goes on tightly because it's got the splines. Let me have a look. There we go. So that holds together. Now, when you use the puller to get this off, it'll all come off in one because the puller's pulling on the very centre. If you don't have a puller and you sort of use some other way to get it out, what often happens is this will just come loose enough that the centre will move out and then all the little rollers fall out. So whenever you take one of these off, have a little tray. Unless you're planning to replace the rollers, have a little tray underneath because they'll all fall out. They'll all fall down the bottom. So what we've got to do now is we've got to put this on and we've got to put the sprocket on the end of the crankshaft, because having made that spacer I need to know if we've still got a nice straight line for the duplex chain. So let's set up for that. Alright, so there's the clutch on and this sprocket on. This sprocket's up tight. I've put the big thick spacing piece, well thick washer in there, and put the nut on because this is on a taper. So if I just tried to hold it on, it would have a tendency to wobble. So that's on good and tight. It's as far in as it will go. So now we get a straight edge across this face and across the teeth. That's nice, there's no play in that. So let's see, set up against that. Oh! Spot on! I did do one job right last week. I made that spacing piece the correct size. Okay. So we're going to take this back off and put the primer chain on. I have a brand spanky new primer chain, and not only do I have a new chain, but when you put this small sprocket on, you've got to shorten the primary chain, which I normally have to do, and then get a duplex, what's the word I'm looking for, master link. But when I got the sprocket from Peter Quick, he actually had a smaller primary chain to suit, well hopefully. So let me take this off, put the primary chain on. Right ho, let's see about getting this on there. Okay. Oh, nearly pulled that off, and then all those are gotta have somewhere nice and flat to lay this down, or you're gonna lose your rollers. Okay. We need oh, it must be in gear, damn it. We need the woodruff key in there. Let me get this organised. Well, things are looking up because I didn't have an Allen key, all that muck, in amongst the clutch bits here. But when I went into one of the BSA boxes, found this little thing, look, and it says there, BSA clutch, and there it is. So, as I say, a little bit of jiggle in here. So let's get our that on there. This is so annoying having to. So you hold the centre that way you can. Okay, that's on the splines. Now we've got to get that on the Woodruff key. And that's kicked it up a little bit. Oh, bugger. You know, I don't know why I like BSAs so much. They have some, really, I complain about Triumphs. Okay, let's get it back down in its groove. Oh man, that's lined up perfectly. Probably won't go on because that's. I think that's on. Yes. Okay. Now then, the next thing we have is a really thick washer, which has got, and don't be put off that this hole is a lot larger than the threaded end of the clutch shaft, because the nut, when I find it, is shouldered, and that goes into there. It also goes into this lock washer. There's a hole in there somewhere. Can't see for looking. There it is. It's right at 9 o'clock. So that tang goes into a hole in this, and then they obviously fold up. So that goes in there like that. And the nut goes on there. The nut also, of course, goes inside that lock washer. Right, now we get our clutch holding tool and we can tighten that up to the appropriate torque. Hold on. Right, so we've got our clutch holding tool in, which is just two old clutch plates and an arm. And according to the manual, this is 60 foot-pounds, which is a lot. I tell you what, the clutch holding tool is so much better than, you know, sometimes you'll see it say, oh, put it in gear and put the back brake on. £60 is a lot to be trying to hold this on the back brake. Certainly if you're on your own. There we go. So that's that done. Now we're going to need this in later on. In fact, I can leave it in there. I'll just leave it in, because we're going to do this one. But first of all, we have got to put on our electronic ignition. And that, actually, that's just about right. I never thought about checking that for the minute. There we go for that. Virtually doesn't need it. Okay, so let's get out the stator and the rotor, because the stator comes with some little pieces and we need to make sure they don't always go exactly the way they should. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Okay, so first thing we do is there are 3 little spacers that go on. Like thus, to get us out to the 1/4 inch part. Then no, that's not going to go through there. No, it isn't. It's a bit rotten. We'll put a new one on there. I do like this though, that the that comes out that way. Right, let's just push these through. Then we can put a grommet on them later on. Okay, so that goes through there like oh, we're going to get this on here. Under there, and I can fasten that up out of the way of the chain. Yep, so that goes on like that. That's not the 1/4 inch one. Hang on. Right, that's better. Now of course these are 1/4 inch BSC. Now I'm going to set this to the timing it gives us for a round barrel B44, because in the instructions it mentions specifically that there's 2. The square barrel one has more advance. Now we're going to set these at what it should be, but this is a lot lower compression, so we're probably going to need to advance it a bit. Right, now then, since you last saw me do this, I've made up a much better I've made a little piece to go in there, so this is a better fit, and so this is our little thing to get us, find us top dead center and the distance before top dead center for the advance. Let me open you out. So the way this works is, I suppose, actually what I should do is bring you close up onto this. That, by the way, you may have noticed, is just an old spark plug. The end of that's rounded so it doesn't dig into the piston. Now then, let me move you around. So I've already taken it to top dead centre, and what you see it going up and down as I rock over it, so we're going to take it to its maximum. Right, so that's top dead center. Right, so when it's there, it's top dead center. Actually, I don't know if this is going to be long enough, this thing I've made, because what I've got to do now is measure from here up, going up the amount. Then we'll go back over and then bring it up until that top mark pops out there. So for a B44, it says it's 5.3 millimeters. Okay, so let me measure I'm going to measure 6. What was a B40? B40 is 6.5. So I'm going to measure 6, which is a 1/4 inch. I'll just fit it on and mark it. And that's going to be our starting position. Now there's my mark at 6 millimeter, right? So we'll take the engine backwards. And then we'll come up. Come on. Until that just shows. And you've got to remember, when you're working in millimeters and you're using a Sharpie, that a Sharpie is 1.5 millimeters or something. So that is fine. And we've set the bottom to being in the middle, so we can go backwards and forwards on that. Okay, let me move you again. Right, the rotor. Now the rotor isn't keyed on the way the alternator is. I presume it's just to make it more of a universal fit, but what they have is this split collet. So as this gets, it's tapered, as this gets pulled onto the taper, the rotor obviously is held on the taper, and the taper is, the split part of the collet is squished up, so that then grips on the shaft. That's the idea anyway. That seems to be going a long way on there. I would have thought that should only go on to about there. Well, okay. So then this dot, you line up with that if this is a top dead center, but from the instructions that only works with a B50. The red dot is the full advance of this unit. So we've set this up to what should be full advance for a B40 / round barrel B44 for its approximation. So we will put that on there. To line up with that. Then there's a collar that goes on. And then like that big thick piece that went in there, the inner diameter of that collar goes onto this shoulder. So that screws into there. That, and this goes on to 30 foot-pounds, it says. So let's check that. Foot-pounds 30. Now, as I've mentioned before, those who've seen this, what can happen sometimes is the rotor will move as it's being tightened up. That doesn't feel right. Oh, there we go. I was just going to say that. Okay, let's take that off there. Check our timing. Right, that's spot on the mark that you can't see up there. We're spot on there. So that's not bad. Right. Next thing to do is to put our clutch plates in. But I think I'm going to go and have a sarnie. It's a little bit early, but I'm feeling peckish. So we'll go and do that. As I say, I think, again, you can't see what I'm talking about here. Whoops. You can hear what I'm talking about. I think I'm going to have to make that a bit longer. It's just a, hang on. It's only a 5/16 bolt. Oh yeah, that'll do. Cut that off round that. I'll make a longer one of them. But that's much better than it used to be, because it used to wobble about in it a bit. Because this was only that size up to about there, then here it was bigger and it could wobble. Alright, sarnie time. Alright then, that's a cup of tea, sausage in a bun with piccalilli on it. I'm set for anything. Alright, clutch plates. According to the parts book for the round barrel, it's a 5 and 4. So 5 of these and 4 driven ones. Oh, that sausage has gone straight to my head. 4 friction, 5 plain. That's what I meant to say. I've got a load of brand new plain ones because when I put the original order in, they sent all plain instead of the plain and friction. So British Cycle Supply said, oh, our mistake, just keep those 5 and we will send you the friction ones. So here we go. How many is that I put in? 2, because this was a pack of 4. So there's number 3. Hey. I've got a chap coming tomorrow, bought the C15 from Massachusetts. Luckily he has a friend that lives about half an hour away from here, so he's going to come and stay with him overnight and then collect the bike the next day. Alright, I should have a little bag with new springs in it here somewhere, but you know the way things go, I'll probably accidentally throw them in the bin. Yeah, 1 full clutch pack. There they are. Okay. And that goes on there. Come on, stop playing about here. Then they're the type of springs that I hate. See, this doesn't reach the threaded part, so you've got to compress the spring to get it on. So I find the bigger the screwdriver, I've got grease all over that now. The bigger the screwdriver, the easier it is. God, they're strong springs. Oh, I don't know if I like them. They seem very strong. Hang on, I think I've got another set of springs. Right, well, this bag said B44, B50. I would prefer B25 ones. Actually, clutch springs are the one thing I have found, I think more than anything, with the BSA parts, that you never buy two the same. Alright, I don't know why, but I'm getting the red thing on the battery on the camera, and I just changed the batteries, so this goes off. Yeah, that's less. See, the spring makes them go wobbly, wonky, and of course for screwing a thread on you want to be straight. Come on. Oh, right, let me do the other four so conserve a bit of battery. Right, that's those four on. That one went on easier than the other three. So much for quality control making those springs. Right, now then, we'll shoot over the other side and see about putting the outer cover on with the clutch operating mechanism. Right, so the next thing is to fit this into there with that meshed with that, and you've got to wind it in. So generally I find it's a bit hit and miss where you put the arm to start with, to get it to mesh, to wind in so that that's about flush, and this is more or less where you want it. Actually, that's not bad. Let me try that. Right, now this should answer everybody's comments. You can't see the clutch, but I've got the cable on and everything. Right? So there I'm on the clutch. There, just disengaged. That was as light as that is as light as anything. And for those that were worried I wouldn't have enough movement, there's plenty. Actually, might even be able, you can just about kickstart ratchets catching. Yeah, I can do it with one finger. Perfect. Alright, I'm going to turn you off because the battery's about done. I'll have a look at that ratchet and stuff like that. Alright, well, the last bit for this video, I was going to route all the wiring and do the earths and things like that. I'm still going to do that, but I have a couple of remedial jobs which I spotted last night as I was putting the video from the camera into the computer. I'm sure you all noticed I forgot to do the lock washer in the clutch. So I've pulled the pressure plate off and bent the tab up on that, so that's all done. The other thing I noticed was, having tightened this down, this is not central in the depth of the rotor to that rotor. So I could do two things. One, I could take this off, make up a spacing piece to go behind to shim it out, which I don't want to do because I've just put the timing thing in. This is all tightened down and set at the right point. Or I can take this off, which is easily done, and shorten the little spaces that go in behind, because I've checked and there's lots of space behind to move the stator backwards. Now then, I've measured the thickness of this, I've measured the thickness of that, and I've measured how far in this is, and I've got to bring it out, or in this case move that in 80 thou, and then this will be centered over the center line of this. So I take this off and get at those little spaces. Right, so there's our 3 spacers off. Let me go and pop 80 thou off each of these. And there was something else I forgot yesterday, which came to me. These studs are narrower, smaller diameter than the slot. So not only can this go that way, but it will wobble a little bit. And the magnet tends to pull it to one side, so you've got to space it, you've got to have an air gap all the way around. With these it's just about a thinnish business card. So that's all nicely centered. Now this sticks out a little bit on this side, and I can look inside and it sticks out a hair on the other side. So everything is good. Nothing is near the chain. So I can just, I've got my timing marks right, I can just tighten this up, and that's that jobbed. So I've tightened that up. There we go. Okay, let's look at the wiring. Alright, here we go. So this wire here is the one from the unit where the alternator is. I've actually, well, you can't see, there's enough space to feed it through in between the engine mounting and the bracket on the frame. So that will go nicely there. So we have 2 earths, right? One is from the sort of CDI box, this one is the kill switch. So what we're going to do is we're going to put them on here. There's one. There's the t'other one. It's a close fit, isn't it? Whoops. I won't show you, we put the next one on this. This is a bit silly, isn't it? So those 2 are going to go on there. So they're nicely connected to this plate, right? And then what I'm going to do, I've just made it here, is this is going to go from the cylinder head. I've made it long because I wanted it to go up out of the way, over to this other bolt here. So then we'll have a really good connection from there to there. Alright, so let me put this one on. Right, so there we have that going from that plate to the cylinder head. So that's a nice earth there. Alright, this is the other one from the kill switch. Come on now, go inside of there. That's a plastic sheets are causing a problem. There we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is fasten these up. These will get bundled into here. As I brought that up and over the top just to make it a little bit easier to bundle it all in. So we'll get all that fastened together, and then we'll do the plug cap. So that's all neatly packed away up in there and fastened to here. So the last electrical thing we've got to do is that. So we'll fasten that up there out of the way. wants to go to about there. Now then, I'm not sure. That outer piece I think will screw in there all right, but I don't know whether we can get it to go inside the boot. Let me try warming this up a little bit, see if it'll slip on easier. Right, well, I noticed that the hole in this actually had sort of the equivalent of burrs on it. So I cleaned that up, it went on. I also put some dielectric grease on for that to be a bit better. And that of course helped it go on also. And I've also already screwed this on to get the hole down the centre, make it a little bit easier to put on. So there we go. It's all the way on there. It's on there. It's nicely sealed up here. Actually, you need a bit. Oop. I'm just going to put this in finger tight for now. And that'll go up on there. Good. That's a tight fit. Let's grease that as well, just to make things go on a little easier. There we go. Actually, could do with cutting that a bit longer, couldn't I? The mine's up there out the way, that's fine. Okay, so that's all the wiring done. Oh, and speaking of wiring, because I know how eagle-eyed you are, and keep rushing off to give me comments, let me show you something absolutely minor. I'm going to zoom you in, get ready so you don't get sick. Ooh. Some of you may have noticed that when I put this back on, I put the wire over the top of that instead of underneath it. And I didn't realise until afterwards that I was going to put this cable tie on, and I thought, damn, I put that underneath. I'm not sure whether I have enough space for that. So anyway, where are we? Come on. Gotta get that dowel in there. There we go. So that goes on without catching anything. And that actually makes that a little bit safer. It's even further away from the chain. Alright, let me move you again. Zoom you out. Ready? Ooh. So there we are. The only other thing to fasten up, because I've just been playing, this clutch cable could do with being a bit shorter, but it is, the outer is really stiff. So we'll have to fasten that. Normally I have it coming on the inside of this fork leg, but the curves are have to be so big because it's so stiff. So I'll probably fasten it there and there, something like that, if I can. Anyway, we can think of that a little bit later on. Right, so that's all for this video, because it's long enough, even though it's actually early in the week. I'll probably be doing a bit more. So obviously we have the tank to do, but I'm going to give that a severe looking at and some more thought. And I've had various comments. A couple of comments mentioned that the wheeling was stretching. Right, fair enough. And that to get it to come in, I had to get the edge shrunk. Well, as I said, I didn't show you everything. So I had some pounding on the sandbag, and also with one of those fork things. Dick actually made one of those fork things, but what I used was a pair of long nose pliers, a pretty hefty pair, and you sort of make the tucks with that. So I had been doing that. That's how I was able to really bring it round so much, and it didn't just splay out. It was tight. So I'm going to, as I say, give that some more looking at, because I've got a feeling I might be able to do better than I have. All right, so we'll be doing that. Also, yes, you can see it. I have two jobs to do on this carb. I have to shorten this to get it in out the way. Actually, we have to find a cable for it as well. And also, as I say, with this, hold on 1 second. With the unfortunate way that sticks out, when you put a piece of hose on, even pulling it in reasonably tightly, see how it sticks out? Don't like that. Needs to go on there like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a little sort of T thing to go on there. It's the only way I can think to do it. I've got a feeling if I try to get this out of here, I'm just going to destroy the carb. So anyway, we'll show you that next time. All right, so that's it. As I say, you stay safe and enjoy yourselves.